Hi, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in to tonight's roundtable. My guest is Robin Gensburg, who's got a business for hypnotherapy and grief recovery. But before we get into the grief recovery part, it's obviously not one session or two sessions that it takes.
No.
How many sessions and what are the sessions like?
For hypnotherapy, hypnosis, I really try to stick to 4 or 5 sessions because it takes 21 to 28 days to make a habit. So again, as my business kind of has grown a little bit, I really have 4 or 5 week packages or longer. Because some techniques it might not work. So you always have to try different things, but to throw in the towel after 2 times, you're not being fair to yourself, because it's important to give it at least 21 days for something to work or not work. I mean, I even suggest longer than that. So it's not, it's not a magic pill at all. You have to put in the time to get the results that you want.
Let's talk about the grief recovery method. These are specific exercises, specific techniques that you teach people who are dealing with some kind of loss.
It's a real program. It's called the Grief Recovery Method. And it started over 40 years ago by these 2 wonderful men. And there was nothing out there for them. So they ended up starting this program. And now it's in every country all over the world. And we just had our 2nd Grief Recovery Conference. It's a 7-week program. So it's 7 weeks, you get a book, and you have homework every week. So you actually go through, and there's a loss graph you do and a relationship graph. And it's an active approach to help yourself through grief. Not that you're not going to forget, obviously, and you're still going to grieve, but as opposed to repeating the grief, it's called an active approach through getting yourself through grief. And
you referred to choices, correct action choices that people can make in dealing with loss?
Yes. I mean, I believe, and I tell all my clients, whether they're with grief or hypnosis, that you have a decision to make. Only you can make yourself happy. You could choose to go back and be a victim. You could choose to kind of live in the moment. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. There's nothing you could do about what happened. The only thing you could do right now is work in the present. And I believe with the grief recovery program and hypnosis, you have to kind of live in the moment, because there's nothing you could do about what happened. It's gone. You can't, by holding on to it, it doesn't, like especially people with depression, it doesn't help by holding on something that's finished. So if you kind of focus, and I like to help, I give people tools to work with, whatever the tools are, like getting fresh air. There's so many different tools to kind of get out of your head. That's the big problem. People get stuck in their own heads.
Someone has a question. This goes back to our discussion about hypnosis. And the question is, what's your favorite myth about hypnosis?
I think
is it the chicken?
I would say that is my favorite myth, because people seem to think, when I first tell them, oh, you're going to make me do something that I don't want, you're going to make me do something really stupid. And I can't. I can't make anybody do anything. And at any time, also during hypnosis, they could get up. They have total control. I mean, some people in the hospital do fall asleep, and I give them the option. I'm like, if you fall asleep, is it okay? I'm going to walk out. And even in my sessions, I'm like, okay, if you're doing this at night, I'm going to count to 3, and you could choose just to keep sleeping, or if you want to wake up, it's time. But yeah, I would say people thinking, the stage hypnosis is real.
It's an act on stage.
They're real. But the people that are on stage hypnosis are these people that are incredibly extroverted, know that they're going to do something totally silly, look foolish, and are okay with that.
But they never admit it after looking foolish. They never say, "Oh, I was aware of what I was doing the whole time."
No, they don't necessarily remember what they're doing, but they know it's something foolish, and they're just kind of going with it. That's real. But But right away, the hypnotist knows the people that are trying so hard, like people who want to try so hard, it doesn't work, they're able to point them out right away. And people who are just open, I would never be able to do it.
Yeah.
People have to be very open to being incredibly silly, not necessarily remembering, but knowing that you're doing something so silly and just kind of going with it.
Right.
So, but it is real. I can't make, again, even then, they know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
They have agreed that they're going to look really silly.
So people watching tonight don't have to worry about acting like a chicken or doing anything that they don't want to do, because they're going to be totally aware.
Totally aware. I mean, even if they fall asleep, I tape it. So sometimes with my weight clients, if they were totally asleep and I'm able to tell if they're totally out, like, you know what, I want you to just listen to it when you're awake, just so you really hear what you're hearing when you're asleep, because your subconscious will hear it. So any level of relaxation, it doesn't matter, because it will go into your subconscious.
Have we left out anything in your practice that you want to be sure to mention?
I just think it's really important to for people to understand that really they're the only people that can make themselves happy. As far as, I mean, I feel I like to be the person, I'm like, I just give you the tools, you know, but you have to do the work.
But I think sometimes people feel like if they're a little depressed, they'll go to a doctor who will give them Xanax or something.
Well, this is a way, just, you don't have to take, there's
no
actually
drugs.
a lot of stuff going on right now with hospitals for pain management, because if, like with my sister and other people I've worked with, I've been able to help them relieve some of their pain. And hospitals are getting more on board with more holistic ways, because just the whole, you know, drug is so out of control.
Yeah.
So they're able to hopefully replace some of these high dosages of drugs with more holistic services, such as hypnosis.
Do the health insurance companies pay for these services yet?
At this time, no, they don't. But I do know people for the grief program and hypnotherapy that, depending on, some insurance companies are very flexible and they've written in and they have gotten money back. But I can't guarantee that to anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, my goal is just to help people and give everybody the tools.
We want to be sure that people know your phone number and your website. So I think it's been on the screen, but you can tell me.
914-450-8877. That's the way to reach me. And my website is harborhypnosis.com. So www.harborhypnosis.com. And there's a lot of information on grief and hypnotherapy on there.
On the website.
Yes.
So if people call you, you'll spend some time on the phone with them, or you'll just make an appointment for them to come in?
Oh, people have called me. I've spoken to people for like an hour. Generally, the consultation is on the phone.
Okay.
And, you know, and they're like, okay, let's start. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So, but my whole big thing too is I'm not on a clock. So generally my time is over an hour. I'm not going to tell somebody to go mid-cry. I really keep my time paced, so I have people sometimes there for an hour and a half, 2 hours even, or less, depending. And my other thing is I'm kind of a 24-hour call, but nobody's really taken advantage of that.
Be careful what you say.
I know, but I let people call me if they need me.
Thank you so much for spending time with us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Robin, and we've got more of the Local Live coming up. Stay tuned.